The Name in the Water. Part 4 of 4. Marcus sat at the kitchen table with his dead mother's final message on the screen in front of him and understood, at last, the full architecture of what she had built. She had not been trying to sacrifice him. The opposite. She had been trying to protect him in the only way available to a woman who had kept the covenant for 30 years and knew exactly what the thing in the pool would demand when the last keeper died without a replacement. She had known Marcus would refuse if told directly. She had known he would need to feel the weight of the chamber in his own body before he could make the decision clearly. And she had known, because she had made the same descent herself every third night for 30 years, what the thing would do if a keeper lapsed. The 8 men in the water were proof of that. When Marcus had failed to appear on the first night, the night of his mother's funeral, the night he had stayed in a motel rather than return to Shoal Lane, the thing had taken the fleet captains instead, not as punishment, as leverage. His mother's text was not a curse or a betrayal. It was an answer to the only question that mattered. She was telling him the name it wants is yours. It has always wanted yours. That is the condition it held back from every previous keeper, biding its time, waiting for a veil who would come alone and without preparation. Marcus deleted the text. He sat very still for 3 minutes. Then he picked up his phone and called the harbor authority. The harbor master, a woman named Solange Breck who had known Marcus since childhood, answered on the second ring. Marcus asked her 3 questions. Were the 8 boats in the harbor currently under official investigation? Had any of the crew's families been notified? And was anyone at all, planning to board and search those vessels tonight? Solange told him the investigation was pending the Coast Guard assessment in the morning. No family notifications yet, and yes, the lead investigator, a man named Durst, had arranged to personally inspect the lead vessel, the Verdant Mara, at 10 o'clock tonight. Marcus thanked her and ended the call. He went back to the ledger and read the appendix again, carefully. It contained, in addition to the feeding ritual, a section he had skimmed past the first time because it was written in a different hand. Older, cramped, in a style that predated his grandmother. He read it now with full attention. It described a second ritual, not for feeding, for release. For the termination of the arrangement entirely. The release required the keeper to descend a second time, before the tide reached the second marker stone, and speak a name into the water. Not a name of a living person being offered, but a name of a dead one. A name already gone. Something the thing in the pool could not hold, could not use, could not consume. The thing would understand what it meant. It had been waiting for centuries for someone to understand the difference. Marcus cut his palm open again over the gray bowl and read the appendix a third time to be sure. He descended at 11:40 in the evening. He carried the bowl and the flashlight and nothing else. The passage felt shorter than it had the first time, as if the house was no longer resisting him. The chamber opened around him and the black pool pulsed steadily in the dark, the second marker stone now visible, the water a single inch below its face. Marcus walked to the edge of the pool and knelt. He set the bowl at the threshold. He looked at the dark water for a moment. Then he spoke. He said the name clearly. One name into the water, into the dark, Casimir Vale. The man who had made the deal. The man who had started all of it, dead for over 100 years. A name already taken by time, by earth, by every passage of water over the harbor floor. A name the thing in the pool had, in all its ancient patience, never once considered, because every keeper before Marcus had been raised to believe the arrangement could only be maintained, never ended. No one had told them it could be ended, because Casimir had made sure the original ledger was buried, the release ritual hidden in a hand too old to be noticed, a section designed to look like decorative text. His grandmother had never found it. His mother had never found it. Marcus had found it only because he was an air traffic controller who read documents with absolute precision, because his entire career depended on never missing a single line. The pool reacted, not with violence, with a sound, the first actual sound Marcus had heard from the thing, a resonance that came through the stone itself, felt in his teeth and his sternum, long and descending, like a note played on an instrument built from continental rock. The water rose sharply, the second marker stone submerging in seconds, the pool surface churning, and then something moved in the dark water, not the vast slow mass from before, but something faster, resolving, 8 shapes moving toward the surface. Marcus stepped back from the edge. The 8 men came up through the hatch at Pier 4 at 12:17 in the morning. Investigator Durst, who had arrived 2 hours early for his inspection, found them standing on the dock in 2 inches of seawater, soaked to the bone, silent, staring at the harbor lights, their eyes cleared over the following hour. None of them remembered where they had been. The Coast Guard report would later classify it as a mass dissociative episode caused by extreme cold water exposure, which was the explanation that everyone in Harrow Point quietly agreed to accept. Marcus was sitting on the front step of Foreshore Lane when the harbor lights came on, and he heard the distant shouts of Durst calling for ambulances. He had the ledger in his lap. He would burn it before morning. He would seal the hatch with 4 inches of poured concrete and list the house with a realtor the following week. His phone buzzed once, the tower. His shift started in 2 hours. He was halfway to his car when the tower radio frequency opened on his earpiece. The one he always wore during commute hours, because good controllers never fully stopped listening. The frequency crackled. A voice, calm and male and measured, said, "Dunmore approach. This is Cascade Air 447. Thank you for opening the channel, Marcus. The passengers appreciate it." Marcus stopped in the gravel of the front path. He stood very still in the fog. "There is one more condition," the voice said. There was always one more condition. Your mother knew. She simply ran out of time. The fog closed in around him from the sea, from below the house, from below the concrete that was not yet poured. A familiar vibration moved up through the ground and through the soles of his boots and into his chest, slow and patient and exactly matched to the tide. The arrangement had not ended. It had transferred. And it was waiting to hear what Marcus Vale would do on the second night. His earpiece crackled one final time, and the voice from Flight 447 whispered a set of coordinates. Not to any airport, not to any runway, but to a stretch of open Atlantic 60 miles offshore where the depth chart showed no bottom at all. That's it for Part 4. Follow Untold Lores for Part 1 of our next story. Like and subscribe for daily stories.